guys, welcome back to my channel. Please hit the subscribe button. Still trying to get to 100 so I can edit my URL. Today I'm going to be doing a blog about an escape room I done yesterday in Cardiff. It was a Stranger Things escape room at a place called Play It Pins. We first arrived at Play It Pins. It was just a little doorway and you go downstairs and there's actually a really big room which had a lot of cool stuff in while we were waiting for the room to get ready. So they had old school arcade games with Street Fighter and Space Invaders. That was pretty cool. They had pool, they had a TV with the rugby on, they had a 10-pin bowling alley, and they had a shuffleboard. And I'm not really sure what a shuffleboard does, but it was a lot of sand on it. So after about half hour we were finally ready to go into the room. It was a lot smaller than I was expecting. We all go in, there's just one settee. There were 6 of us, and apart from me, they're not the smallest guys around. So I'll introduce the people who I went with. So from left to right, we've got Curly, then Goose, then Jim, then Elmo, then me, then Mike. So I'll refer back to them. If you want to see who they are, just jump back to this part of the video. So just before I go any further, just a warning, there's going to be spoilers now for the clues for this escape room. If you plan on doing it, turn this video off, but give it a like first. We all squeezed on the settee while the guys sort of introduced that we were in Will's mum's house in Stranger Things. They had the lights on the wall, there was a Scrabble board, unfinished, there was a bookcase, and little drawers with locks on. So the guy pretty much set up the story that Will's mum's gone missing and we have to try and get out of this room to find her. So he left, he chucked an hour on the clock. We had a button that we could press anytime to exit the room to go and get a drink, which personally, if I go in an escape room, I want to have to escape, I don't want the option. And there was also a buzzer that we could hit if we wanted to get some clues. The guy would come back in, see where we were and give us a clue. The guy set the story up, left the room, clock started, we've got an hour. So we're all just looking around. Where do we start? What do we do? There was no clue given to us at the beginning, it's just go for it. So there was a bunch of drawers with locks on and we had to try and obviously find the first code to open the first drawer. We just haven't got a clue where to start. There's a Scrabble board but there's no clue. So after about 10 minutes I'd say of us just ripping this room up, out of nowhere, Curly figures out that the Scrabble board, the letters that are missing and we put on the board made up numbers, and those numbers opened up the first drawer, unlocked the first lock. So we opened the first drawer and there was a piece of paper. So on the front there was a clue about a movie that came out 5 years ago. Will needed to be 5 years older to see it, so it was obviously 18. They come out back in the 80s when Stranger Things is based. And I turned the paper around, so I'm trying to figure this movie, thinking this is going to be really quite difficult to try and figure out. Turn the paper around, it's just a picture of Alien, the movie Alien on the back. So all the boys are like, oh, it's Alien. But I just couldn't believe that it was that easy. I was like, there's no way that's the answer, just on the back of the sheet. But they tried it anyway, tried putting Alien into the lock. It worked. They got in. In the room we had a little map of the Stranger Things town. It was like 4 clues, and if we went to the right places on the map it would give us the code to open the next lock. Pretty easy. Got the next lock done. So then the 4th clue, it was like a code, started with A, then a dash, then you had to follow the arrows, and certain arrows were circled. So the circle arrows were the ones we were looking for. On the wall there was the letters A to Z with coloured lights on, like in Stranger Things when Will's mum is communicating with him. So we started from A and followed the arrows. The circled ones we would use to get a word which spelt alone. But it didn't really help us to get the last lock from the drawer. So we didn't have a clue what we meant to do. And then at this point, Jim figured out that if you pulled the drawers out, they actually didn't have anything on top of the drawers. So we could have just taken the drawer from the last one out and just reached into the last drawer and got the clue out. But good guys we are, we didn't want to cheat. What was the point? We paid for this. We want to play the game. So we're looking around the room trying to find this last code. Then I noticed on the wall there was a poster of Steve and the plant was covering the bottom corner. So I moved the plant. There's an arrowed code which we used then to open up the last lock. And in the last drawer was a code from A to Z with mainly numbers, some letters. We guess this is what the word alone should be used for. And A was A equals question mark -6. We figured out the code, and this one I'll take credit for, no matter what Goose says. So we walk into the second room and it's really dark. And there's not a lot in there. There's another settee, there's a locked box on the wall, and there's a table, there's another plant. And then there's this little cupboard, which is locked. So on the front of the cupboard it said, what keys opens? And then on the side of the cupboard it said, has but no doors. We couldn't figure that out for quite a while, and then Goose figured out that you sort of had to read from the front and then the side. So in the end it said, what has keys but opens no doors? Which Curly figured out was a piano. Now if you know Curly, you'd be quite suspicious at this point that he figured out the Scrabble and he figured out a clue where the answer was piano. So we unlocked the cupboard. Inside were two UV torches and a key. So we used the key to open up the lock on the wall, and then inside was another clue with a list. 5 things we had to collect from both the rooms. There was a troll, a bear, a plant, a book and a videotape, and they all had cards attached to them. So if we shone our UV torches onto the cards, they would give us codes. So we could not figure out for the life of us what this code meant. We couldn't find this code anywhere. We were looking through every page in the books. They were pretty long books. Looking on the Scrabble board, looking on the walls. We just looked everywhere and we could not find it. So Curly asked if we wanted to press the button to get a clue from the guy, and I'm pretty sure Goose said no. And then about 30 seconds later, without asking anyone, Goose pressed the button. Dirty, dirty cheater Goose. Now personally, I'd rather lose than to get the help. So the guy came in and he said if we check the walls with our UV torches, which had the codes from the cards, and then it gave us a number. So it turned out that was the last clue, and yeah, that was the Stranger Things escape room. I don't know if it's really fair for me to give this room a rating because I haven't done any other escape rooms, so I can't compare. But in terms of how much fun I had against how hard the clues were, out of 10 I would give it a 7. It was decent. Some of the clues were too easy, but some took a while to work out, so I enjoyed it. It was something different and I'd recommend it. A 6 is quite a lot of people to have in there as well, because it just means some people end up doing nothing. That's escape rooms, play at pins. So thanks for watching guys, see you soon. I escaped!